Hey everybody, Mac to Monster, back with Marvel Heroes, and back with Thor, and we got his level 52 review going on, and that was a surprise that it was so fast, but, they put it out. It might have been a little too fast. It works pretty good, but you can tell by the fact that there's not 100 level, or 100 level 60 Thors running around there. That it's probably not the best. So that's unfortunate. Um, I like it. I wish there was a little bit less button mashing and a little bit more cohesiveness to it, but um, altogether it does do some pretty good damage. He's got some good survivability, and it works pretty well. So, a couple different ways you can go with it, but we'll go over the skills. Not a lot has changed. I would have, if it wasn't for the fact that they added a signature, I would have called this a quality of life patch as opposed to a level 52 review. But I guess because they added a signature, you can call it a 52 review. Um, a lot of the same basics. They added Odin Force. You get 3 pips of it. After 1 pip, you become imbued. So once you're imbued, certain skills will have extra effects. Um, and some skills can only be used once you are imbued, so you have to build up that. Some skills build up Odin Force, like Hammer Strike now generates Odin Force. Um, and then, Hammer of the Storms, there's a different effect when it's imbued. So basically what happens is you still throw the lightning or the hammer out there, but you don't get arc lightning until you're imbued. Spinning Strike, you must be imbued to use it. And this is kind of a new one. It just does a whirling attack like he usually does on an enemy. It's a little bit difficult to use because it's got a short range. It feels a little off. Leaping Smite basically does additional damage while imbued with a stun duration. Hammer Smash, you must be imbued to use it. This is a point blank AoE. And we still got it as Guardian Smite. This generates Odin Force now. We still got Thundering Strike. This is probably one of the better basic attacks. And when you're imbued, it has a Thunderclap damage as well as its physical damage. So that's pretty nice. Still got Storm Strike, which generates Odin Force now. Lightning Hammer. This is a charge up and throw, but it generates 1 Odin Force. This is actually probably one of the better charge ups that I've seen, although the throw is very slow. I think my kid could throw a ball faster than that hammer flies right now. Bring the Thunder. Works basically the same, except now it's got a vulnerability and a slow, which snares them as well. So it lowers their attack speed and movement speed, and while you're standing in it, ceases the decay of Odin Force. One problem right now is you're going to notice that Odin Force decays really, really fast. Like, you can generate a pip and lose the first part of that pip instantly. It's a little too fast of a loss. They really should have probably waited another day or two, but they didn't. Well, that's about my biggest complaint, is how fast Odin Force goes down. Once you generate a couple pips, though, it's there forever. So I guess it's not that traumatic, but generating it up to that point is just a little sluggish. We got Lightning Strike, which generates Odin Force. You can see a lot of these are the same skills. Forked Lightning, this is a new skill. It's basically a ranged skill that does a cone attack, and it does damage twice per second, but it generates Odin Force as well. Crack the Sky, this is basically calling down a bolt of lightning. You sort of act like Storm now, and it does more damage while imbued. And then we've got Son of Odin, which is basically a couple paths put together. So we got damage rating and critical and brutal rating as a passive, and then when you hit with a melee power, you get defense and tenacity, damage negation, and toughness. And that buff lasts for 10 seconds every time you hit with a melee power. then you can activate this too. It becomes an active skill where it does energy damage as well as recover spirit, as well as +2 spirit per enemy hit for 12. Well, I don't know for how long that per enemy hit. +2 spirit per enemy hit for each enemy hit in the AoE. It basically hits the screen. Sorry, forgot about that. I haven't had to use it with my build. I have no spirit issues, so I'm not familiar with how they retweaked it. So it's got actually 3 skills of old Thor thrown into one skill. That was kind of nice. Mjolnir's Flight's same old, same old. Yggdrasil's Boon here. This is, I think, 2 buffs put together as well. It's got a passive effect of damage negation again, maximum health, regeneration of health, and then projectile deflection chance. And then it also has the active effect to be the PvP crowd control immunity. It actually lasts quite a while. It's going to be interesting for PvPers. 6.3 seconds. Seems like a long time to be immune to crowd control. We got the Anti-Force. This is the signature. A lot of people are questioning its validity. Its damage is not that great. It's, it hits anywhere from 94 to 140,000 damage at rank 20, as you can see. This is unbuffed. The power are always critical hits, which throws in a little bit of a how much does it really hit for. So maybe it hits for a couple 100,000. And then it has critical damage rating added for the power of 783. So now you're adding another 8% damage. And then it generates 3 Odin Force, and it's every 20 seconds. A lot of complaints about this as an underwhelming skill. The damage rating on it is no different than a normal skill at 20 seconds cooldown. It should be much, much higher. It still hits pretty hard. I've had 1,000,000 hits with the way I gear. I'm not even a critical damage healer. So it is what it is. It melts trash, and I guess that's what it's supposed to do, but every 20 seconds, it's kind of slow. If this was, I don't know, every 6 seconds, it'd be something. Every 10 seconds, it'd still be alright. But, I guess it compares to Emma Frost's signature, which is kind of weak nowadays. Ragnarok. This is probably just as good as the signature. As you can see, the damage is right there with it. 42 to 63 on a 10-second cooldown. This hits the entire screen all around you, however, and this only hits a cone. And this is a pretty good skill. And then for Asgard, I'm not sure if people are using this or not. Probably an underrated skill. It gives you +5 fighting, which is right there, 15% increased damage. And then base damage rating for all powers. And then defense rating, attack and movement speed, and regenerate health when you hit with a power. Its duration is 12 seconds, and it's on a 35-second cooldown, I believe, to start. And it kind of works its way down. Buffed, I got it down to like 28 seconds, and I can make it last 16 seconds. So at the right time, it really comes through as a nice damage dealer. Like when you open up on a boss, it can really burn down the boss pretty good. Really makes the Anti-Force hit a little harder. And finally, we got God Blast. This is kind of a combination of a buff and a damage dealer. And Mjolnir emits the ultimate expression of its power, unleashing an unfathomable amount of energy in a single. If a single target is selected, their existence is simply emitted by the raw power of a dying star. So the buff effect is +5 ranks to all powers. You regenerate 8.4% of your maximum health point per second. I think I'm getting the 0.4 because I got 2 ranks in it. You and your allies are empowered, increased in base damage of all powers by 40%. So that's like a 90% increase to all powers. You're almost doing 100% additional damage. Buff duration 20 seconds. Active effect 93,000 damage twice per second. Active duration 6 seconds. You just start obliterating the screen. So it's a nice ultimate. I haven't used it yet. I'll use it on some trash before I hit good old Dr. Octopus with the build. So I do have a build. I call it the Berserker God. Although I don't put the Thor in there, but I like it because some of the other builds I was coming up with were just really, really cooldown heavy and skill heavy. I mean, I had 2 bars at one point on test server. I really don't like 2 bars full of skills. That doesn't make play fun. You know, you're acting like Doctor Strange now, and you don't have taunting pets to take things away from you, so you can just sit there and focus on hitting buttons. So for Berserker God, what I'm doing is 20 points into Thundering Strikes, 20 points into Asgardian Smite, 20 points into Bring the Thunder. And what we're doing here is Thundering Strike. It's got such a low spirit cost, we're going to be able to wail on stuff. It's the hardest hitting skill we got, especially when you add the extra Thunderclap damage once you become imbued. You know, Asgardian Smite's on a kind of a long cooldown. It starts off around 6-7 seconds, so it gives it a nice hard hit, and it weakens enemies. But it also starts you off with 1 Odin Force, which gets us imbued. To just wham, you're imbued. Bring the Thunder stops us from losing Odin Force, but it also snares, slows, and makes everything vulnerable yet again. And it does some pretty serious damage over time. So while we're standing in the thick of it, we might as well be standing and Bring the Thunder. And then we're going to do 20 points into Son of Odin. Might as well. We only have 2 buffs to pump into, and we're really getting skill heavy already. Almost builds should have 20 points into this anyways. I mean, look at all the damage rating, crit, and brutal rating you get, defense and tenacity. As long as you're hitting with a melee power, and we got 2 melee powers on the bar, so we should be doing that every 10 seconds easily. And get an extra 10% damage negation. With the 15% here, that's 25% damage negation. Now we're in the lines of, like, you know, Psylocke and all them. It's pretty good. They added that. 1 point into Mjolnir's Flight. You might as well fly around pretty fast when you don't have to sit there and run on the ground. Yggdrasil's Bloom, I got 20 points into. It can be a 1-point wonder. However, you might as well just take advantage of the extra health and health regeneration. And the projectile deflection chance, there's no other passive to pump points into. I really don't see a point in having another skill. I do 20 points into Anti-Force. Even though it's not the world's greatest signature, it's still something that hits pretty hard and helps clear out trash. 20 points in Ragnarok. It's still got a long cooldown, and I don't like long cooldowns, but it hits like a truck, and it really helps clear out trash as well. And it hurts the boss pretty good. It's a nice button to have, and it's on a longer cooldown. And then for Asgard is the rest of the points. It would be nice to have, you know, 20 points into this, but it's not necessary. The buy down really goes down as you start buying points into it for the cooldown duration, and you really don't gain a ton out of it past 40. So this is where I decided to put the remainder of my points. The +5 fighting's there no matter what, and you do gain base damage rating, defense, attack and movement speed, the health, and the cooldown goes down. It just really deteriorates the higher points you get into there. So point for point, that's where I decided to lose points on. And then for gear, I do have an Idol of Khonshu. Because we're putting Bring the Thunder down, which is a ranged area dot. It's going to tick twice per second. We're swinging twice per second. That's going to make Thundering Strike really buffed. And then when we drop Asgardian Smite, that is melee tagged, so that will get the buff as well. Even for Asgard, we might beat 2 swings a second with 4 Asgard, but we'll still maintain at least 2 attacks at buffed, and we get +1 rank to all powers, so that's a pretty good one. Most of our skills, except for the melee, are area tagged, So I'm using a Pluvian Superconductor to buff all the area skills. That would be Asgardian Smite, Bring the Thunder, and Ragnarok, and the Anti-Force. I got an Advanced Crimson Crystal Sidereck to buff the physical damage aspect of it. This is a really good one at 583 damage rating on physical attacks, 1400 health. I mean, that helps out a lot too. Only a 1% chance to come invisible or vulnerable, but you know, what can you do? And then I got a Danger AI chip, which is pretty good here, 394 damage rating on energy attacks. That's energy based to buff the energy side, seeing how I got both energy and physical. I went with one for each. So this is going to give me an extra 300 damage rating for the 5 stacks that I can get. And then it also gives me some health regeneration if I get low on health, gives me some area damage reduction, and gives me some energy defense. I'm using Dr. Doom's medallion for the power duration. With the ultimate and for Asgard, power duration equals longer buffs. So the longer buffs equals more DPS we can get out of those buffs. So it really pays off with the power duration. Dr. Doom's medallion is still pretty good. It gives us health as well, damage rating, and a chance to make our opponent cower. So the little CC there, we don't have much CC as Thor, so that CC can help. Then I do have his full kit. I have Mighty Mjolnir for the hammer, for his weapon, slot 1, 880 damage rating, 3% chance to become imbued with Asgardian Vigor, gaining 1884 damage rating for 10 seconds on a 30-second cooldown. That's pretty awesome. Another chance to knock the target down when I hit. So I have a 7% chance to knock it down when I'm hit, and then a 7% chance to knock it down when I hit. So a little CC there. But crit rating, crit damage rating, brutal strike rating, damage rating on physical, damage rating on energy, boss damage rating, and +6 ranks to all Master of Mjolnir powers. I'll take that. Rune King armor, a high chunk of defense. When you hit with any power, gain 117 damage rating and 147 defense for 10 seconds. Stacks 3 times. I'll take that. Health, health regen, spirit, +5 ranks to all Son of Asgard powers, +2 ranks to God of Thunder powers, +9 ranks for Asgard. So that was actually a pretty good roll, except for the +2 ranks, but what can you do? Cape of Seaguard, Dragguard, Slayer. Pretty good defense, health. When you hit with a range power, gain 1 strength and 383 damage rating with a melee power for 8 seconds. When you hit a melee power, gain 1 energy and 383 damage rating with ranged attacks. We have ranged attacks, we have melee attacks. We're all set. Those buffs will be up permanently. Power duration, which is really nice. Special identifying, rare identifying, +1 to all power, +6 to Yggdrasil's boon, +4 to Son of Odin, +7 to the Anti-Force. I got Humanitarian's leg wraps. That's got defense, spirit. When I defeat an enemy, I gain spirit and health. Health, crit rating, damage rating on energy attacks, +2 to all powers. I got the Helm of the Skyfather. It's got defense. When I hit with a melee power, your next range power has 883 damage rating. When I hit with a ranged power, your next melee power has 883 damage rating. Again, we're tying in Thundering Strike and Bring the Thunder together with the benefits that's happening on with Helm of the Skyfather. That's awesome damage rating right there. It's got health, crit damage rating, brutal damage rating, a 4% chance to when you're attacked to enter Odin Rage, gaining crit rating and brutal strike rating for 10 seconds on a minute cooldown though. It's got crit hit rating, brutal strike rating, and +2 to all powers. That helm is God. So I'll take God's helm. I got 30 relics of Lemuria. I don't know if those are great anymore or not, but that's what he's got. I got health on his core. You know, he's got so many hit points, I could probably roll damage or crit damage and, you know, be happy with it. Except if you look at the costume, it's got all the old +6% base, 7% base, 9% base. So it's really up there with the health, and you can't get those back, so I don't want to re-roll them. but he's got durability on the core with a 3-to-1 core, 25% of your health, 100 spirit on medkit use. I got Insignia of the Falcon, so I'll gain some movement speed, but it's got brutal strike rating because my crit strike rating is pretty good, and criticals damage rating 926. Beef up the damage rating and beef up the anti-force. I got a Cosmic Ring with damage rating for area, powers, defense, brutal strike damage rating, and health. So you can see I'm pushing some pretty good health. I got an energy damage rating Uru. I could go with a defense Uru. I'd probably like a defense Uru a little more for soloing. But I don't have defensive Urus anymore. They never dropped for me. Then of course I got this wonderful pet, 3 fighting, 1 signature powers. So we'll go take out Cosmic Dr. Octopus here. It will take a little bit to get used to all the skills in the bar, but really you're only using 3 for the most of the time, and then these 2 are high duration cooldown skills, and really I'm only using this when there's a big group of guys there that I can just blast. I'm only using this when there's a big group of guys around so I can blast them, and that's it. You can see, well, Ragnarok doesn't show you how big of an area it hits, but it hits the screen. You can see his DPS is definitely increased. That was the anti-force. You can see it hits like a truck. And that was Ragnarok. It's almost like you're aiming a shotgun and just everything in front of it dies. It's a lot better than Punisher's shotgun, that's for sure. You can see, like, as soon as you jump, you lose it. It's so weird. And you can see his DPS is definitely greatly increased. Thank you, Lord. He is pretty good. A couple small problems, like the Odin Force decaying way too fast, but other than that, I like it. It's pretty good. If you're wondering what to do, try this. Hope it helps. Hope you guys enjoyed. And talk to everybody real soon.